So hopefully you found with the paper pyramids that it took 3 of them to make a cube. So here's another demonstration to show you that these 3 cubes will come together, or these 3 pyramids will come together to make a cube. Now the thing that's true about all 3 of these pyramids is they all have the same base, since the shape they're making is a cube, and they all have the same height. So because of that, going back to our work with triangles, for example, and all the triangles had the same base, the same height, they all had the same area. Well, the same is true for these pyramids, because they have the same base, which is the square, and they have the same height. The 3 pyramids actually have the same volume. So a volume of a pyramid is a third of the volume of the cube. And it doesn't have to be a cube. A cube is one of the nicer shapes to actually divide up into pyramids. But this relationship also holds true for any prism that is divided up into a pyramid, that as long as the pyramid has the same base and the same height as the prism, the pyramid's volume will always be 1/3 of its prism's area. Just like a rectangle having a base of 4 and a height of 6 has an area of 24, the triangle that has the same base and height will have an area that's half as much. So the area of the triangle that has a 4 by 6 base and height has an area of 12. So there are these relationships we're going to be talking about between these shapes. So as you continue, you're being asked to draw a conclusion about what's happening here. So describe the relationship between the volume of the prism. This should be the word prism. No, this should be an S instead of an A. And a pyramid with the base and height. And the base can either be of a polygon, which would be like for the cube above, or it can be any type of other prism that we've talked about. All those have polygon bases. Or it could be a cylinder. So question 1 is asking you to find the volume of both of these solids, one being a prism, second being a pyramid. You'll notice, look at the pictures, they both have the same base, 3 by 3 square, and they both have the same height. So if you go ahead and write your conclusion, take a look at question 1, 2, 3, and 4, and work on those problems, and then when you're finished, come back to the video. So as you work through these problems, if you find that you've made a mistake, please correct them as you go. But the relationship between the volume of a prism and a pyramid with the same base and height is that the volume of the pyramid is 1/3 of the volume of the prism's volume. One of the things that I try to emphasize here is the word base. You'll notice that I capitalize it a lot, because I want to make sure that we make a distinction between a base and a height of a square or of a rectangle or a triangle and the base of the solid. So you will find that, I will try to make sure that the word base is capitalized, if not all 4 letters being capitalized, at least the first letter B is. So the first one here, hopefully you typed in that the volume of the pyramid is 1/3 of the prism's volume with the same base and height. So in the second problem, the prism is a 3 by 3 base, which means its area is 9. That means there's going to be 9 cubes on the base. And so the prism is going to have 5 layers of 9. So that means that the volume of the prism is going to be 45 cubic centimeters. Since the pyramid has it's the same base and height, then that means that the volume of the pyramid is going to be 1/3 of the 45. So the volume of that's going to be 15 cubic centimeters. Or you could take 45 divided by 3. So one of the comments I made when we started this, the first volume activity, is that volume itself starts with the base. And I can find the area of the base, then I know how many cubes are on the first layer, as well as every layer. Well, with a pyramid, we're also going to start with the base, and we're going to look at the shape as being a prism first, and then we're going to take 1/3 of that volume to find the volume of that pyramid. So keep that in mind as you're working through these problems, that the relationship between these two shapes is the pyramid's volume is 1/3 of the prism. So at this point, if you made any mistakes in your thinking, I would suggest you go back and correct problems 2, 3, and 4, and then come back to the video when you're ready to continue. So in question 2, if the volume of the prism is 42 cubic inches, then what is the volume of one of the pyramids? Like going back to like the previous shape, it takes 3 of those pyramids to make the prism. So one pyramid will have a volume that is 1/3 of the 42. Or taking 42 divided by 3, whichever one works best for you. And so that means each of the pyramids will have a volume of 14 cubic inches. And problem 3, the base of the prism is a triangle, and the base length, the base here I use lowercase b, so the base length of the triangle is 6, the height is 11, so the prism also has a height of 20. So what is the volume of the pyramid with the same information? So the area of the triangle is equal to 1/2 times the base, which is 6, times the height of the triangle, which is 11. So that means that the area of the base is 33 square centimeters. So the volume of the prism is going to be 20 layers, so that's the height, times the 33 cubes that's going to be on each layer, since the base of the triangle is 33. So that means the volume of the prism is going to be 660 cubic centimeters. So therefore, the pyramid with the same information is going to be 1/3 of that answer. So 1/3 of 660, or 660 divided by 3. So that means that the volume of the pyramid will be 220 cubic centimeters. And for the last one, the base of the prism is a regular pentagon with a side length of 7 inches and an apothegm of 6. So that means the base of the triangle and the height of the triangle is 7 and 6. And it's a regular pentagon, which means it's made up of 5 identical or isosceles triangles. And then the height of the prism is 12. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to find the area of the regular pentagon. So to do that, we have to find the area of the triangle. So it's going to be 1/2 times the 7 times 6, and that's the area of one triangle, which is 21. And because it's a pentagon, there's going to be 5 identical triangles. So we're going to take that answer and we're going to multiply it by 5. So basically the problem is going to be 5 times the 21. So So that means the area of the pentagon is 105 square inches. So the volume of this prism is going to be the height, which is 12 layers, and there's 12 layers of 105 cubes. Just keep in mind that since the area is 105, that means that each layer has 105 cubes. So that means the shape has 1,260 cubes, in this case, cubic inches. So for the prism, for the pyramid, we'll take the same answer that we came up with, which is the 1,260, and we will take a third of that. Or take 1,260 and divide it by 3, whichever one is easier for you. So that means the volume will be 420 cubic inches. So for the as you continue through the activity, you're going to be looking at next some problems involving a cone and a cylinder. So we talked about the cylinder 2 days ago. So what's the relationship between a cone and the cylinder that have the same base and height? And then you'll finish up at least this section of the content block by doing some problems. So hopefully the information here was helpful, and if you need to revisit the video, start it over again and watch through it again. Make sure that you understand the steps you need to go through to find not only the volume of a prism, but also of this pyramid with the same base and height.